So glad to be here. We are in this women's space because it's our passion, and great to know you guys and have been on your podcast before. I'm Rachel. I'm a naturopathic physician by training, also mom, my most important job.
I'm Carly. I'm a chiropractor and have been practicing functional medicine also for over 15 years. And Rachel and I met in medical school. And very long story short, we are neighbors. We've been in practice together. And of course, we've started Kale Blossom in 2019, and it's grown since.
We first spoke to you guys about 2.5 years ago, back in episode number 221, when we talked about the fascinating topic of maternal fetal microchimerism, which is so cool. So, if anybody has not listened to that episode, you really should go back and listen to episode number 221, because that is the concept of that the cells from the baby get into the mother during pregnancy, and those cells, some amount of the cellular material from the baby, live within in the mother forever and ever, forever and ever and ever. And to me, this sort of explains partly why mothers and babies have such a psychic connection. You know, a mother can feel something that might be happening to her child even when they're on the other side of the world. So that's a great episode, and we're super happy to have you guys back today to talk about another very important topic that is on everybody's mind and is really overwhelming. So we're hoping that you can break it down and make it nice and easy for us. But that is the topic of how we can take the homes that we live in and turn them into something a little bit less toxic, because toxins are everywhere around us and everybody wants to be a little bit more low tox. But it seems like everywhere you turn, you're getting contradictory advice. Like, or it's just overwhelming. It's just too much. It's like, how can I wear the right clothes, eat the right food, sleep the right way, breathe the right air? So we're hoping you ladies can put us on the right track today.
Thank you. Yes. And I think the first thing to kind of clear the air is nobody can live 100% toxin free. I think that's the most important thing to remember, because what we see is it does become overwhelming, and the stress of that alone is worse than the toxins that you're breathing in and surrounded by day in and day out. So I think that's the most important thing to remember. There is no perfection in living a low tox life. That's why we like to say low tox and not non-tox, because we think there's an important distinction there.
And when you look at the stats at play, there are over 80,000 chemicals currently in the market in your everyday standard products sold on a store shelf. So from Windex to deodorant to the sheets on your bed to baby gear products, anything and everything in between. And the understanding is that even if the EPA took it seriously, we would never see in our lifetime them be able to go through and ban the number of substances that need to be banned and not included in products. Now, the EU, European countries, do a little bit better than us. They've already banned a handful that the US still uses, but even those countries also, it's just we are way underwater in terms of chemical overload.
I'd love to make a comment about the EU. I remember attending a lecture a few years ago. What was the woman's name? Phenomenal woman. Her first, Patty Wood, I believe. And I think she's been in some documentaries. She's done incredible work. And you leave a workshop with her, you leave a lecture of hers, and you're just like, you're scared of everything in your house. Like you're just like, okay, it's one of those things. But she's so knowledgeable. And I remember her saying that I believe the EU banned at the time 11,000 chemicals to our 11. And the reason that I find so interesting, and it's tangential to this topic, but I do think it really helps to get the mindset around it that Americans need to have, is that in the European Union, the government is responsible for paying for healthcare. So they have great incentive in every country over there to keep their citizens healthy, because when they aren't healthy, the government has to foot the bill for their care. So they invest a lot more in preventative measures. And doctors invest a lot more in preventative measures, and the doctors who are on salary get bonuses when a percentage of their patients quit smoking, and it's just a completely different system. And here, unfortunately, the economy thrives when we are either testing healthy people, look at what we're doing to healthy pregnant women all the time, or treating sick people. And there's so much less incentive. And the takeaway that I think about and I tell people is what this primarily means is we just have to take more responsibility for our healthcare here. We can't count on our government or anyone else to do it for us. So FDA approved means very little to me.
Yes, agreed.
In fact, I woke up thinking about a law that was passed. I think it was in 1999. And it had Senator Lieberman and Senator McCain, so Democrat, Republican, they were all behind it. And that was the year, you probably know this well, that was the year that they made it illegal for natural companies to claim that they can heal or benefit really anyone. So now it's suddenly illegal for a natural company to even say that they can really do anything of substance. So if you go to Whole Foods and say, hey, do you have some natural remedy to help me get rid of my cold? They'll get nervous and say, well, we're not allowed to say that this will treat your cold. But some people like to purchase this. Like, they're all trained to not even dare because of a law that's censoring speech and language. So it's just a really wacky place to live when it comes to seeking a natural lifestyle.
It really is. And that is our passion from the ground up, is women's health and preventive healthcare, which is what functional medicine is. We're looking at the functionality of the body and anything that could potentially interfere with that, whether that's hormone imbalance or nutrient depletion or toxins. So I think that, when we were in school 25 years ago, living low tox wasn't even as big on the radar as it is now. But we did have a couple of professors. I remember one at the time that was talking about parabens and how awful they were. And I'm thinking, he was a grumpy guy too, but smart. And I'm like, how does he even know, like, paraben? And now, years later, I'm like, he was brilliant. We take environmental medicine courses in medical school. That's what our, kind of alternative medicine requires. And speaking of prevention, it should be a part of our healthcare system. We have to know about environmental medicine and toxins in our everyday world. We cannot, whether it's natural remedies or allopathic remedies, we can't heal someone if they're super toxic. It's just not possible. And there's only so much our human bodies can take in.
And just to give you a little perspective on the timeline on that, it was like first in about 1976 that they passed an act that required the EPA to overlook more toxins, right? Or to look at them. Well, what that also meant is that over 60,000 toxins were grandfathered past that EPA oversight. So you already have 60,000 plus toxins
50 years ago,
long time ago. Fast forward, I think it was about 2011, anyways, long time after that, another act was passed for more oversight, but again, grandfathered in. And now they're trying to look at the most toxic of toxic chemicals, but where are the human studies? We're never going to have those. And then, of course, cumulative effect. There's just very little oversight, and we already have this pool of toxins that we're swimming in. So, it's just really difficult to backtrack on what has already been done.
I think that's what we should focus on today, is trying to talk about like how we can take that pool of toxic soup that we basically live in, that you cannot avoid because we live on this planet, we live in this country, we live in this world. And what can we do that's kind of practical on a day-to-day basis to reduce our toxic load? Because we know that the body's really good at dealing with this. Like, we have a liver for a reason, and we can trust our liver. We don't have to live in paranoia. We don't have to be afraid of everything that comes across our plate, of everything that we breathe, of everything that we touch. I mean, our body is meant to detox. And one of the best possible things we can do to help support that detox system is to move our body. And we know we do a lot less of that than we should. So if you are afraid of all these things, rather than living in that state of anxiety and fear about everything you eat, touch, breathe, are exposed to, move your body more. But there are some things that are really harmful that are still floating around all of us all the time. So there are definitely some things that we can do to really reduce that toxic burden on our body. And you guys are the experts in this. So let's talk about it, especially when we're talking about women who are prepping for childbirth, prepping to become pregnant, have a new baby in the home, or are breastfeeding.
Yeah, we lighthearted like to blame the Kardashians, especially when it comes to toxins in women, because they think they started this like makeup, skincare, Ulta, Sephora craze. It's like wild. We both have daughters. I think you guys do too. And it's like, we're navigating that. For women especially, there was studies showing that we potentially, because we lather ourselves with potions and lotions and perfume and makeup, cover ourselves with about 186 different chemicals every single day. So start there. We always say start in your own home with the things that you use every day. You don't have to overnight get rid of everything. Most people can't afford that. Most people can't take in the capacity of having to manage that. But it's those common exposures, like, again, the Windex. There are tons of companies coming out with great cleaning products, great toothpaste, better quality makeups, deodorants.
Cleaning products
Cleaning products are a huge one. But we always say, just like what you said, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Trisha, because it always goes back to the basics. And this is uh, natural medicine 101: sleep, hydrate, good foods, move your body, like you said, outside for fresh air, sunshine, connect with your loved ones, sense of purpose, have a community. Those are healing, and those help your body heal and detoxify like we need to. Because you said it, where our bodies are resilient. We just have to give them the basics of what they need.
So those are all the hard things that people are like, blah, 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 blah. I hear it, I hear it, I hear it. But really, how am I supposed to sleep 9 hours a night? How am I supposed to exercise for an hour a day? How am I supposed to, eat all the right foods? Like those are, I'm with you on that. Those are always the fundamentals. You must do those things. Like those will fix you better than anything else you're going to do to detoxify your life. But those take a lot of effort, and everybody wants the easy fixes. So there are some easy fixes. What's wrong with Windex, by the way? I don't use it, but because it's blue.
Yeah.
And so I have to assume
poison.
it's bad just because of the color. But what's really wrong with Windex?
Good color, dye, definitely. It's also got a perfume. It's got about 3 other chemicals, including one that they don't even have to put on the label, that has been connected to reproductive harm, infertility. And they sell about 21 million bottles of glass cleaner every year. They have half the market share. And it's something simple like that. If you are planning to have a baby or thinking that you are, ditch the Windex and buy a vinegar-based or a lower-tox cleaning product. And that's one check mark, easy to do.
So easy. Easier and
Yeah.
easier every year. Yeah. I gave that up after that workshop I first attended 20 years ago, like the first one of her workshops. Yeah. And, an easy approach to that is like, if it says it's poisonous on the bottle, if drinking it would kill you, touching it is the first little tiny 1% toward killing you, like enough of it would make you sick. Essentially, none of it won't ever harm you. You'll detox from it. But that's the scale. And if women sometimes say, well, I'm not inhaling it. It's like, well, if you can smell it, it's definitely in your lungs. Like that's it. You brought it into your body. Again, I like what Trisha said, like we are going to live a normal life, but it is so easy to replace these things. And we don't have to use literally poisonous things in the home.
So can you give us like 3 substitutes? People talk about baking soda, vinegar, borax instead of laundry detergent. I mean, I know there's some really simple things that you can just swap out that are not expensive for replacing all the cleaning products you have in your home. What would you recommend?
And those are actually 3 great options, because those, again, are very financially doable, things that you can make yourself. But there's a lot of great brands out there now too. We talk about Truly Free, Branch Basics. There's so many now that you can have a good quality cleaning product and not have to sacrifice how it functions and works and for your home. So
if you're not one of those DIY or Pinterest moms where you want to make all your cleaning products, thankfully Target, Walmart, most grocery stores, they carry a selection of better quality products, and it's always reading the label, no matter what it is. If you're putting it on your body, in your body, bring it in your home. Because the other tricky thing, the marketing now, is it'll say like eco-friendly or green force or something like that, and they can slap on any number of those labels. If you turn around and you look at the ingredient list and there's anything we say that you can't pronounce or more than like 4 or 5 ingredients, it's probably not something that you want to bring into your home. And Carly and I invented an app, our low-tox app. It's called Nook. And the reason why we invented it, and we've hand chosen over a thousand, I think, I don't even know how many now, well over 1,000 products, the most common every day that people use in your household. And we have an ability to scan the label front or back of the product, or you can search the name and it'll tell you everything you need to know about the individual ingredient. Like this may cause respiratory harm. This may cause an impact on fertility. So it's not just why. It tells you like why. It teaches you and then gives you an easy brand if you're looking to swap. And we did this because we heard so many patients, especially women in our practice, which is largely what we see, say the same thing. It's too overwhelming to try to live low tox. I'm busy. I have soccer, baseball, kids, my own life,
So for me, I just keep it really simple in cleaning my house. I literally just use baking soda and vinegar and water, and I actually don't clean that much. I do allow, if I do have a house cleaner who comes 2 times a month. That's it. And I do kind of allow, I try to not have her use bleach or Windex. I give her a few things, but I kind of just let her go those 2 days of the month and clean however she wants to clean. So it's really, really done well. And then I open all the windows and just air out the house. Even in the winter, I will open the windows and just air out the house for a little while. But that helps things really stay clean over the entire 2 weeks. And then I just use really simple things to just clean the counters, clean the toilets here and there as needed. And I never buy cleaning products. The only cleaning product I ever buy is laundry detergent and dish soap for the dishwasher. That's it. Those three things.
Those also have natural options. The main
They're
thing,
totally natural.
I mean, the main thing to also avoid, an easy thing to avoid, is fragrance right off the bat.
Yes.
Nothing with
Yeah.
fragrance. That's a category, that's an umbrella catch-all that has thousands and thousands of untested and tested chemicals in it, and they get away with murder. But we don't need fragrance. And it's funny, when you get accustomed to not having synthetic fragrance, you have a zero tolerance for it.
That's actually the first thing we have, like Rachel mentioned, we have daughters, they're 12. They're discovering body care products and makeup. That is the very first thing that I started educating my daughter about, is fragrance, because like you said, it is like a pool of chemicals. There can be hundreds and hundreds of different chemicals and toxins under that label of fragrance or perfume, and they call it a million different things. So that is another really great place to start, is reading a label and looking for fragrance.
I'm right there with you on that. I do not let my daughters wear perfume. I have one thing of perfume that I've had for about 10 years, and I will occasionally wear it. And it's a maybe clean, maybe not, but it's not like one of the really bad Victoria's Secret style perfumes that like, just make you want to gag. I wear it very, very rarely. And I always spray it in like far away and then just sort of walk through it. So you just get a little subtle hint of it. But I have literally not hired childcare providers because they show up to my house with perfume. So I think that is a huge thing for mothers. Like if somebody who's caring for your baby or you yourself are wearing perfume on your clothes and then holding your baby up against that, it is like, if you just didn't do that, you would improve their health for their life by many, many fold. So I am with you. Get rid of all the fragrances, no perfumes. Anything that smells strong is definitely bad for you. Unless it's essential oil.
Yeah, and like you said, it's all about balance, so that on those rare occasions where you're doing something fancy or celebrating, it's lessening the load where you can. And that's using fragrance sparingly, using better quality cleaning products, switching out things that touch your skin, like your pajamas, your sheets, your undies. Oh my goodness, undies. Let's talk about toxins and disrupting fertility, men and women's underwear.
What's the problem with, I mean, I know the body can't breathe. I know it's not healthy for the body to wear polyester underwear, but is there something about chemicals? What's the link to infertility? What do you know about it?
Yeah, so a lot of these are basically plastic based. You're wearing plastic. And
if it's not cotton, you're saying, like if it's not breathable cotton.
Cotton, hemp, linen, so the 100% natural fabrics, so that you would maybe go find in nature, right? Cotton and linen. But essentially you're wearing plastic. I don't know if you've seen the big Lululemon, news headlines. Their leggings are plastic. You are wearing plastic. Then you go exercise, you sweat, your pores open, you are absorbing plastic. And so think about that in terms of the underwear that you're wearing against a very sensitive part. And then again, we relate that to fertility, and again, the plastic. So it's problematic. And it's something, again, that a lot of women don't think about. Even yeast infections, and aggravation in that area, that makes a huge difference.
It's actually a very common cause of recurring yeast infections.
Yes.
The first thing I tell women if they have that is, we got to change your underwear, or you're going underwearless for a while. That's okay too, but I guess we should not be wearing Skims underwear then, huh?
No. And every time our bodies are as steamy, well, now everybody's body temperature is lowering because I think we're becoming less resilient overall, but we're supposed to be like a steamy 97, 98. So every time that material hits heat, it off gases for the life of that product. So different, but similar, vinyl shower curtains. The smell when you get a brand new one, it's very strong. That's the PIVA, that's the plastic material, because plastic in and of itself, this is similar for fabrics too, is actually hard. It's not a super flexible material. So they have to add all these chemicals to make it more flexible. Same thing with water bottles. The more flexible they are, the more toxic they are potentially. So for the lifespan of a plastic shower curtain liner, every time it gets hot and moist, it will liberate toxins. And with a shower liner, you're not wearing it, but you're literally breathing it in the bathroom, which is usually a closed, small space. So
how do we swap out a plastic shower liner.
Yep. Look for PIVA free. If you're going to do a more plasticky shower curtain, that's going to be a better option. And you can find them for about $9.99 at Walmart. So it's not one of those that has to be super expensive. But we would prefer, if we had our preference, to go with more like an organic cotton or a linen. Those are, looking closer $60, $75, but you're going to be reusing it. You can wash it.
They last a lot longer.
They last a lot longer. They look a lot better, we think. And they are much better on the body for sure. Even like bamboo, which is another one. You guys have probably heard about the bamboo fabrics, just speaking of fabrics. Okay, so bamboo, there's a reason it's used to build things like homes. It is a wood. It is hardy and it's strong.
True.
In order to get that hard wood to a soft, buttery fabric, it is so chemicalized. It is bathed in chemical over chemical over chemical. But here's the problem is these companies, they basically try to pretend that whole middle manufacturing process doesn't happen. So then at the end, they come in and they may add something or other that allows them to say, oh, it's natural because it's from bamboo. We used to think bamboo was great too. And now we really try not to buy it.
This is where it gets very challenging because cotton we think we're doing the right thing by buying cotton, 100% natural cotton. It's really hard to find everything in organic cotton, especially like you can't work out in organic cotton leggings. That just isn't a thing. So then you just are down to cotton, but then how cotton is manufactured is problematic too. So like, what are we supposed to do? And what really, if you wash these products, like let's just take the bamboo sheets, for example, if you wash them and wash them and wash them and wash them, are they still leaching chemicals after years of use, months of use, weeks of washing? Like, don't some of those chemicals wash away?
They can, absolutely. But for the lifetime of any material that's ever been potentially exposed and bathed in chemicals, there's going to be a residual.
The bedroom and the bed is a good place to maybe start this. We already talked about definitely eliminating fragrances. That's just like a given. But then the next place that you might want to focus on would be your bed and bedroom because you spend a third of your life in there. So maybe can you talk about how to have a low-tox bedroom? What does that mean? Do you eliminate rugs? What kind of pillows would you use? We just spoke a little bit about bedding, mattresses,
and candles.
Candles. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Fragrance out, gone.
No romantic candles in the bedroom.
There are some good candle companies.
Yes.
There are some out there.
Yeah.
So you can
like a beeswax candle.
Yes, absolutely. I think like you said about the bedroom, another layer is because you do spend a lot of time, and for certain individuals, air purification can be really, really helpful as well, just because you are in there for so long and it can find space. But again, just starting with the basics, like the bedding, the mattresses, if you can find, or if you don't want to purchase a new mattress, find a good quality organic cotton encasement for your mattress so that you're not off-gassing, the materials from the mattresses. So there's ways to do it and not having to, go overboard or be really stressed about it.
So let's talk about skincare and makeup then, because this is a big thing that people do not want to give up. They really like their skincare routines. They really value their makeup. But this is obviously being applied directly to our faces, skin, body, which is an organ. So what should we avoid with skincare things? What should we choose with skincare? And what do you guys use?
Thinking about that a little further too, where are we putting their skincare? We're putting things on our neck, on our thyroid. We're wearing deodorant and putting it under our arms so that's a really important thing to think about. It's not just the product itself, but where it's being absorbed. There's so many great brands now, maybe 10, 20 years ago. Yeah, the makeup skincare market wasn't that great. Maybe the low-tox makeup wasn't wearable like it is now, but there's plenty of options, good quality options that your daughters will like, we love. So plenty of makeup options out there in skincare.
Mm-hmm. And again, Target sells them. Even Walmart is getting better.
Even Sephora is trying.
They have it's a select few, Ulta too. And what we'd really love to get back to is this whole notion that society doesn't want women to not age. They want us to be wrinkle-free and beautiful forever.
I was just about to talk about this. Latricia teases me on the podcast, so everyone listening probably knows this, but I hardly use anything for anything. Like I've never colored my hair. I don't like it doesn't bother me to just not participate. And it's funny, this is what I get teased for, but I don't I'm a little embarrassed to repeat this, but it's just true. I don't use any creams at all. I just don't put stuff on my face. Like I just take a shower every morning. I don't put a lot of stuff on me or in me. So for makeup, I'm very careful. Like I'll use like a lip gloss or eye makeup is fun. And I'm not big on like packing stuff around my face because even if it might make me look a little younger, I'm not sure that it does make women look younger, but even if it were to, I'm not interested in, I guess, the time, the product, the stuff going on me. And I see with my daughter and her friends, gosh, my daughter went to a makeup store locally with her adorable little friend. I think they were like 14 at the time, and her friend came out and had a bag. And I said, "Oh, did you treat yourself to something? You bought something?" And she's like, "Yeah, I think she said foundation." And I was like, "She's this young child with flawless skin, and she's buying foundation." So we don't need to participate. Makeup should be fun, but I hope that women don't approach it with the mindset of going from unattractive to attractive. I hope we can just view it as something to participate in because it's fun. We are attractive enough, right? We don't have to change our appearance to be accepted by society. And we should be very judicious about the things we're using. So I love that you took the conversation there because I think that's where the core of it is. And it's not that it's right to not use creams. I'm sure that's not the right thing for most people, but they're healthy options. So I see the appeal definitely. But yeah, we don't need to have 45 different products to begin with and to be hunting for the safest ones. We can just let some of that go. Is that an extreme position, what I just said?
Not at all. And that's what we work so hard to teach our daughters too, and try to instill those ideas and values, and not that we have to look to Hollywood and media to be pretty. So I think that's a perfect way to think about it.
Well, we
You know?
want to teach authenticity too.
Yeah.
It's like, don't judge a book by its cover, and how beautiful you are is really how your heart is, right? Not your outside appearance. I think one of the times that I was the most offended on one of our Instagram posts, people say some mean things, and we've made a policy. We don't engage. We don't fight back. We just either block them or move on. But someone said that we do Botox. And I was like,
yeah, someone said that to us once. Same thing. They said something like lip fillers or something. And I was like, I beg your pardon. It was so not.
And we were like, absolutely not. No
so
judgment.
crazy.
If you want to do that, that's fine. But we know that is very, very toxic. We have seen the women that have side effects. And no, we would never be preaching from a pedestal about how toxic beauty care items are and getting Botox.
Oh my God, I know. We were just talking about birth, I think, but they were like, "Oh, I just love when these," and they said something about Botox or lip filler. And I was like, "Oh, it was so frustrating to have to read that about yourself." It was very frustrating. I did have another comment I wanted to make about this. If you'll give me a second to think about it, please.
So beautiful Cynthia without cream, by the way.
Thank you. Oh, what's really helped me very much is I don't know when I successfully formed this belief, but it's really been serving me that I want very much to look healthy. And when I keep the focus on looking healthy, like I want my teeth to be in great condition, I want my skin to be healthy. I care very much about if my hair looks healthy and shiny and well. I mean, I do want to look well, but the whole perspective, do my eyes look bright or do they look cloudy? I want to look well. And to me, I've learned to equate that with my best level of attractiveness. And that's how I operate. And it really helps me. It's not like I talk myself into like, well, it's okay, I'll settle for this. And I guess I really just think, do I look healthy? Do I look rested? Do I look like I take care of myself? That's an end of story. And I let it go because the one law of the universe is change. And if we spend our lives trying to chase how we looked at 30, we would all suffer immensely the rest of our lives when we don't need to. We just can focus on looking well and especially feeling well. So that has really, really helped me now that I'm in my 50s. I mean, you have to adapt to what your paradigm will be.
Sure.
And so many women suffer and so many of them are so lovely already. Like they're so wonderfully lovely and beautiful, and they just don't see it at all, which is such a shame. And that's just the work of everyone around them that got that message in there. Like the women in my postpartum group, they all look so beautiful to me. They truly look beautiful to me, not just because they are beautiful on the inside. They actually look beautiful to me. And sometimes they all get into a conversation about how terrible they feel about how they look. And I just sit there like, oh God, they don't see it. But one day they'll look back at photos of them holding their babies and then they'll see how beautiful they were. But it's going to take all those years before they can see it and appreciate it.
Yeah. Very well said. That's so true.
Well, we really just want to wake up and look our best self every day, right? So you look your best self every day if you're taking good care of your body, especially if you're taking good care of your liver, because when you have a good night's sleep and your liver does its job, you wake up and you don't feel that you need the makeup so much because your face is already bright when you wake up. You already look rested. Your eyes aren't puffy.
Trisha, you get like 10 hours of sleep. You look fabulous, I'm sure. Some of us are not getting 10 hours of sleep every night. Well, Trisha is a master of sleep. I told her I think of her every night because I'm like, well, she's been asleep for 3 hours already. I'm behind the 8 ball again.
Okay,
You're doing great.
The secret to good sleep, just so you know, and this is not realistic for most of the women listening to this podcast because they're new mothers with babies. And I was not a good sleeper when I had babies. I was exhausted for 10, 12, 15 years, which is actually why I prioritize sleep so much now because I literally still feel like I'm making up for that lack of sleep during those years. I finally think I'm coming out of it. I finally feel like I'm not tired anymore. But what makes good sleep is going to bed at the same time every night. 98% of the nights. You know, there are definitely nights when I'm not going to bed on time because I'm going out and I'm having a good time and I'm not worried about it. But most of the nights I'm going to bed at within 30 minutes of the same time every night and waking up at the same time and sleeping with that window open. It makes a huge difference. Low temperature in the bedroom and fresh air and blue light and all that stuff. I'm pretty good about like no phone in the bed and all that helps as well. But back to the point of like, you just want to wake up and feel like your best self, and sleep and taking care of your liver is how you do that. Now, a little bit of makeup and skincare, people are not going to give that up. Nobody's going to start.
Nor do they need
walking
to.
around.
No one should give
Nobody's
that
going
up.
to start walking around with no makeup and no skincare, but you really don't need a lot. Like, keep it really minimal. And there are a lot of great products out there, as you guys said now, but it is hard for people to determine which ones are actually okay for you and which ones are still just sort of greenwashed or say they're organic, which means nothing in skincare. We're big fans of the company Primally Pure because they are truly making amazing, delicious smelling, really healthy, really clean, and actually super effective skincare. I love their stuff. I got rid of everything that I was using before, which wasn't actually very much. And really, I'm only using Primally Pure now. But also, I believe there's an app. My daughters use an app called Yucca. Or do you guys have this on your Nook app where you have skincare products too?
And Yucca is getting paid by companies to promote different. So they've kind of
okay, good to know.
Lost integrity.
Okay.
Our app does have skincare, makeup, beauty care products that you can find. We absolutely agree with you. Primally Pure, we both love it. We think it's a wonderful brand. Couldn't
Good
agree
integrity.
more. Yeah. And you know, the sleep thing is funny you say that because Carly and I, it is our non-negotiable across the board. You could give us any wonderful botanical supplement, IV nutrient drip, anti-age, whatever. Sleep, hands down, would be what we choose over and over and over and over again.
Yes,
it fixes everything.
Yeah, there's one thing anyone can work on. If they have poor sleep, start there 100% of the time.
And just for the moms out there listening, they need to know that their bodies during the postpartum period are designed to tolerate that interrupted sleep. Yeah. So I don't want them thinking like, okay, nice that you guys are here talking about great sleep and not waking up a single time in the night and waking up super refreshed. Like, that's not my reality. Your body is really designed to tolerate that for a period of time when you're postpartum, but it can go on too long. It really can. I mean, postpartum depletion is a very, very real thing, especially for these mothers who are having babies back to back, 12 months in between babies and breastfeeding for a year and sleep deprivation for 3 years in a row, like your body does take a hit from that. And you do need to start figuring out how to prioritize getting good sleep. And for most people, it is just going to bed earlier. So many
Yeah.
moms are still staying up till 11, 11:30, even midnight because it's the only downtime that they get without something to do, children to take care of. But you gotta give that up and you gotta go to bed on the earlier side. Mothers need to be going to bed at 8, 8:30, 9 p.m. with their children.
Absolutely.
Agree.
Totally agree. There's a reason you can go longer without food and water than you can sleep. We always go back to sleep, sleep, sleep for sure.
Right.
And you're right, that postpartum chapter, even pregnancy, postpartum, it's such a beautiful, special, and also fragile window. Not that women are fragile and they're way over fragilized in our medical system, just in terms of they are getting less sleep and they are exhausted and they are maybe not able to make nice meals and be super nourished, and they're breastfeeding, so they're giving out their nutrient bank accounts, all day long. So that's the window where we'd say, okay, maybe this is where we actually need to say all of this stuff is going to be a little bit imbalanced right now because that's the life I'm living. Maybe when I go to the store to replace my Windex, I'm going to buy a cleaner window cleaner. So that's one less thing. It's one easy swap that's going to be less of a load on my body right now that's in a little bit of a depleted, fragile state.
Yeah, we want to counter perfectionism because when we
Yes.
are perfectionist driven, we just say, forget it. I can't deal with this. It's too much.
Yeah.
When I was raising my children, I consciously made one change per year. Like there was the year my son was an infant, and I'm still doing it to this very day today. The year I started making homemade almond milk rather than buying store-bought nut milks. I make my own homemade almond milk, homemade cashew milks. That's what we do in our family. And we do even my homemade delicious pudding recipe is made first with my homemade almond milk. And I buy my almonds from a farm in California. So like that was a big deal that year to like source the almonds I wanted to buy. They weren't radiated because you have to get raw almonds. And in our country, of course, our genius government says first radiate them and whatever you're doing to them to. So anyway, I just did one thing a year. Everyone got an organic mattress one year. Like, okay, that was one big change. And I didn't drive myself crazy. The year that I changed all the cleaning products and said, this is what we're going to clean with. And that was enough. And because I can be a perfectionist and say, forget it. I'm not dealing with this. I also want to remind women that while they're listening to us all have this conversation, they are so much younger than they realize. And if they feel exhausted and depleted and out of shape and drained, let's say in their late 30s, because they've had their few children, they can feel 1,000 times better 10 years from now. You have time. You have a lot of time. Go through your postpartum period. You have to be in this role of young mother right now. So it will come with being depleted. It will come with not having much time or freedom to exercise to the extent that you might want. But you make it your life intention to take care of yourself. And don't worry that this chapter is very difficult because there's so many chapters ahead and more freedom comes with every single one henceforth. And I think they just don't see it when they're young.
Beautifully said. Agreed.
I mean, we are all in the age of living that. I mean, Carly, you still have young children, right? Rachel, you have young children.
Rachel does.
I am.
Yeah. I'm in the expanding, coming from someone, my youngest is 10. So it's like, you just get more and more time for yourself. I do, honestly, I look back, I feel better in many ways than I did even before I had kids. Because you learn more, you understand more. I mean, having kids teaches you a lot. And just being more intentional about your health and appreciating it. And again, just those small little things that you can do for yourself daily, it adds up. And then you get a little more time and it's easier to do.
That's also part of the intention that you can design your own life. When we're young, we have to work so hard. I have a mom in my postpartum group who reminded us yesterday that her husband works 7 days a week. And my heart is always just aching for these couples because they're young. They don't have their money yet. They haven't reached the peak of their careers yet. They haven't saved much of their money yet. It's so hard when you start out, but as you get older and you start to meet those goals, you then can bring freedom into your lifestyle, as both of you have done. And how much nicer does it feel to say, like, it's not about the maximum dollar. You could work 10 times harder and make more money, but is that really the goal? Or is it to have a life where you're as happy on a Monday as you are on a Friday? To me, that's a
Yeah.
less important goal.
Mhm.
Yes, a huge life lesson. Happiness is far more important, and just having kind of that more relaxed lifestyle than working hard for the dollar, and the external things, right?
And on that note, so I had my twins when I was in my early 40s, and this is why I'm always super supportive of women that do want to have babies later in life. I think if you are healthy and God puts it on your heart to have more babies, I feel like I recovered better from the twins in my 40s than I did from my first couple of babies because I knew I had to prioritize the things that were within my control, like sleep, right? Even though, I went 2 years without great sleep recently with both twins waking up and nursing, but knowing what I needed to prioritize, taking things off my plate, making sure I'm in bed when everybody else is in bed, not staying up late scrolling, making sure that I'm meal prepping ahead so that I have leftovers, so that I'm eating good throughout the week. It really, really makes a difference. Absolutely.
And I bet to add to that is also knowing your limits and setting your boundaries with
Oh, yeah.
people and social things and what you say yes to and what you say no to. I mean, so much comes with age. Like we just learned so much more about ourselves in these decades after the typical childbearing years of mid 20s to mid 30s.
Agreed.
So I completely agree with what all of you said about just it gets so much easier and we really do have time to get ourselves on track and take good care of ourselves in these years in midlife, that we don't feel that we can do this necessarily when we have young children and have babies, and you don't need to do it all right then. Just a little bit. Like Cynthia, that was such a good point. Just one thing a year. Just do one thing. Your
Mhm.
towels 1 year, your kitchen stuff 1 year. Clothing seems impossible, but we'll figure out how to do something
It
there.
does.
Be
Um,
naked. Everyone needs to be
yeah,
naked.
just spend more time naked. But we do have a few questions that came in from our community because we have many shared followers, and people were very excited that we were going to be interviewing you guys today. So we do have to take a few minutes to ask a few questions, and we typically do these questions sort of quickie style because we
Okay.
know we could just go into more and more side conversations about everything we talk about. But we're going to give you a few questions that you guys can just try to answer sort of rapid fire style. Sound good?
Got it.
We got lots of yes, love these ladies.
Aw, thank you.
Okay, so here we go. What's a good quick alternative to using a microwave?
Oh,
Is there one?
just throw it out. Toaster.
I
I'm going to answer that one. A toaster oven.
I eat a lot of food room temperature.
Mhm.
I mean, I know that doesn't go over well for some people, or warm it up on stovetop.
Or in the oven.
Yeah.
Sandals for kids and toddlers that aren't 100% plastic, like Crocs.
Yes, so Crocs, we just did a post on this, just talking about getting information out there that they are potentially toxic. Every time that hot, sweaty little foot steps on the plastic, it liberates chemicals that are absorbed through the skin of the foot, which is very absorptive. So we have hand chosen, we've gone through and found 8 to 10 children's brands. The post came out mid-May, so go check it out.
Perfect. Okay, what do you think about red light therapy for perineal tears?
Love it.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah.
So my own personal story, I had 4 home births and then I had a medically necessary C-section with the twins. And my C-section scar healed so well because I used red light religiously. So many women talk about the C-section shelf, kind of just the tissue doesn't heal well. I don't have that. And I really credit it to red light.
Fabulous. All right. Is handling receipts really that bad?
If you don't have to, don't take it.
Yep.
Because yes, they are toxic. The dyes are toxic.
BPA.
Yeah, I'm always at the grocery store. No, thank
They don't-
you. Nope, don't need a receipt. No, thanks. No, thanks. Don't even try to give it to me. I want to do a parasite cleanse so badly. Do I really have to wait until I'm done breastfeeding?
Yes.
Yeah, anything that's going to mobilize toxins, you don't want to drive those toxins towards baby. So we always recommend any kind of detox to wait.
Now, with that said, if there's an active infection that is significant, that would require treatment. But kind of the way parasite cleanses are trendy, we actually don't love them as a blanket rule for everyone because it can be very depleting, especially for this group of moms that may already be depleted. So let's say it's tricky territory, but yeah,
Generally
no.
How often do you recommend pediatric visits from birth in the first year of life?
We do agree that wellness visits go along with the vaccination schedule, which we do believe is too aggressive. So I do think personally that it's good to have another set of eyes. Moms are smart. I think if we learned anything from our, almost 20 years of practice, we learn more from moms than we did in medical school because moms research and they're savvy. But it's always good to have a set of eyes that you can trust. But I think that's the importance of finding a pediatrician or a provider that you actually feel supported, not presided over, that will work with you, support your decision making, but that can still look for little things that could come up in a baby like torticollis or milestone
hearing issues.
Yes, deficiencies, a whole host of things. So that's a hard one. I don't know.
No set number.
Yeah.
But we do appreciate the extra eyes. I agree.
Yeah.
Should I throw away my Stanley water bottle?
No. Cheers.
Okay, but you should throw away your plastic water bottle.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Never drink out of plastic. Please use glass.
Too many good options now. Nobody needs plastic anymore.
Absolutely.
Glass, definitely.
All right, last one. We often get personal ones when we do these on our Q&As, and one personal one did come in for the two of you. And that question is, what school did you each go to get your degrees?
We went to the same medical school. It's National University of Health Sciences up in Chicagoland. I did my undergraduate in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin.
I did my undergraduate in public health at the University of Georgia. So we feel like we're the northern and southern sister, born from different parents, but like soul sisters that were meant to meet.
Final question for both of you. How has meeting each other shaped your lives?
Wow. That's a
big question.
Neither of us have a sister. So I think it's really, for me, I think of it, it's rare to find somebody that you connect with so deeply and on so many different levels. So for me, in general, it's just been really, really special to have somebody that you can lean on, who understands you, who will listen, very supportive. So it's been a game changer. I'm not somebody that typically has a lot of friends. I like a couple really, really close friends, and I appreciate that. So Rachel's been a huge support for me over the years.
Yeah, Carly has changed my life for the better. I mean, you have these people in your life that come in and that definitely change it for the better. And it's a small group, I can count on one hand, and she's one of those. I mean, like she said, she is my soul sister, and she's one of the most kind, honest, supportive people that I can be all of me, and she can let me be weird and silly and all the things, and no one I would rather be doing this with.